Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Box of the Technical Trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Sunday, the 14th of April. It's the weekend webinar, and interesting week it was, and a very critical week, I think, because of the way the indices acted towards the end of the week and the way they closed at a 3-week low, basically, on the S&P 500. Take a look at the chart. You'll see a rising channel. You'll see a test of that channel here and here, and then a break on Friday. Not only that, but it tested the 50-day and finished just above it. Right now, the 50-day moving average for me on the S&P 500 is 5111. We closed at 5123. We can easily crack that. And if we should crack underneath 50, 55, 58, I think we come down to 49.5 or worse. That could be the beginning of a much bigger slide unless this market immediately bounces on Monday and stays strong for a couple days at least. So we'll see if there's a nominal bounce or we gap down, which wouldn't surprise me as well. It's interesting to see what's going to happen on Monday, but it might be a rather negative day. That's the S&P 500. The Nasdaq 100 kind of confirming, although Friday was a very strong day for it. You'll see why in a moment. Lateral price support, and this is a big one for me, is along that line, somewhere between 17,765 and 17,875. So you got about 200-point differences in here. Let me make sure I got that right. 17,765 there and 17,785. Yeah. So this is, let's just put that line down here and say that we want to see this thing hold around 17,765.75. We break that. Your next test will be the zone, and it might come fast and furious. And if it does, you're looking at a test of 17,120 zone. Now break out to the upside. Obviously would be very bullish. That would mean a move over 18,337 on the NDX. On the S&P, quick move back over 5212, with, could send the market back up to test the all-time highs at 5265. That's where we stand on those two. It's kind of tentative and tenuous. IWM, however, is telling a negative story. It cracked below and closed below key support, price moving average support. Trend line was broken on Wednesday. You can see how negative a week was for small cap stocks. And quite frankly, if that doesn't hold soon, we could come all the way down to that 189.91 zone, which would be very negative for the markets. The transportation index rolled over, and I told you those two were leading negatively, and certainly they came down to the point where the Monday high was over 16,000, and the Friday low was under 15.5, so a 500-point drop for the week from top to bottom. Now you can see we closed right on or just above this trend line. Lateral price supports below here at 15,150. Another 130 points. Anything below that, it's fall away time. Minor support 14.8-ish, and then trend line support down at 14.3. Wouldn't shock me if this thing does not hold in that zone. That it comes down pretty hard. So transportations and small cap are in a very critical situation here. And look, the S&P and NDX also are right on moving average support as well. So this is really big. This is the first time that we've even tested the 50-day on the S&P since November. So a break of that, and then we are headed south. What does the oscillators look like? Well, they got oversold, but not extreme. The Client oscillator is minus 133. That's the lowest close we've seen. Close. It's way back in here. This is, I think, the lowest close we've seen. I may have to double check this again. Nope, we closed higher than that. So this is the lowest close we've seen in a long, long time, going back into about a year now, year and a quarter. So I would think, yeah, we're oversold enough to bounce, but we also are at a point where it's coming down so quickly and how hard it could get down into the more extreme oversold levels, which we've seen a lot down towards 225 to 275 down there. If that happens quickly on Monday, this is possibly a crash scenario, folks. I will say that. Not that I think we're going to get one, but if we crack all these major indices and the oscillators come down hard, and you'll see some of the others like the percentage of stocks above their 40 have dropped off to a third of stocks are now above their 40. This has dropped very dramatically. As a matter of fact, Friday alone went from 58 to 30%. and it was down 43% one day. So pretty nasty, and that's the lowest close we've seen on this one since November, December. So we're getting some pretty strong monthly low readings across the board. The VIX spiked up, and we may be seeing something that leads into the low to mid 20s, even high 20s or low 30s. If we spike up like we did here or here or here. I'm not saying that's happening because we've had a couple that spiked up and pull right back. But when you break a declining tops line, and if it can close above it, matter of fact, if the VIX gets above, say, 19 and a quarter on Monday, this thing could spike into the low to mid 20s quickly. As a result, the UVIX and UVXY could fly. But we'll see. And for now, the readings are oversold a bit, but not extremely so. As you can see, this may be just a break to the downside, but we are getting to that level of extreme down in that zone where if I see 200, 225, I would look for, and I see a bigger negative ticks, things of that nature. Well, we'll play it by ear at that point. Okay, let's look at the major ETFs. They're not pretty either. What was leading the markets were the semiconductors. And you can see that they're holding up well enough, but they had a nasty, what I would call an engulfing reversal day on Friday. And it closed at the low end of the 3-week range. That we're probably headed towards 215. That's 5 points down quickly. If we get below that, then we're in crash mode, where the market could really come down hard. So critical time coming up in the next day or two, Monday, Tuesday. SMH was a lot better than the others. Here's the FAS. Look at the financials lead the way down. Cracking trend line, then moving average, and now level price support, and closing right at or just below that level, below the 50. This is really negative for the markets. Financials are coming down hard. I think your next levels would be down around 84.5 and then 79. If this happens, the market is in, again, fall away mode, dangerous for sure. Now, what's been leading the way all the way down? But look at the XBI for a month now. More than that, 6 weeks. This is top 6 weeks ago at 102, and it's come down to 88. As a matter of fact, Friday's drop breaks the trend line. In my mind, it breaks the lateral price support. The next level and final key level is 86. If it quickly gets below 86, it can get into fall away mode as well. So if you look at the XBI, which is not only have broken the trend line there, but secondary trend line here, this is basically internal trend line and longer term intermediate trend line. Well, with that having broken, the FAS rolling over and having broken its moving average, the SMH probably is the last bastion of strength, and that one had a bad day on Friday, down 7.31 or 3.2% in one day. Not good for that index. And if it's semiconductors leading, having led the way now, starting to cave, finally, when the last group, big strong group caves, it's usually time to go lower. So I'm quite concerned about what I'm seeing market-wise. I also want to take a look at the components. You can see that Apple had an unusual bounce Friday, but it's right at resistance. If it doesn't get through, it could pull it right back and retest the lows or worse. Let's assume this. Let's just assume that this is a very strong bounce right back to the top of the channel. If that's the case, we roll over, retest the lows, and make a lower low, maybe. Amazon, super strong, but an engulfing reversal day, not quite engulfing, but a reversal day Friday potentially. Amazon takes out 182.5. It could lead to, 6-8 points lower. Netflix, also a reversal day Friday potentially, but again, I'm not calling for anything until I see this break, which it hasn't. Google, coming off of the top of the channel after making a new high. Dangerous. Again, Amazon. I want to see what that does in the next day or two. So keep your eye on the big boys, Apple, Amazon, Google, Netflix, NVDA. Of course, let's take a look at that. It's been going sideways for 4 or 5 weeks. This is a must hold. Below 830, I believe this has possibilities of being down around 7.5, 750 to 770, 760. Again, a break of this line, and it will lead the market lower. SMCI, I'm going to show it to you. It's not a component, I don't believe, but you can see it's right on a precipice of a rollover destruction, which could lead down to 675 or a couple hundred points lower. SMCI. Tesla's been weak for a long time, and folks got to tell you that if this doesn't do much, the market starts to come down, and then it takes out 162. I'm not kidding when I'm telling you we are headed down to 135. I'm serious. 135 is my next target. There might be some support at 150, but that's a stair-step move down. Boom, 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 boom. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave down is due, in my opinion. So that covers the vast majority of stocks. Just want to look at Meta as well. Meta's held up well, but you see if this collapses below that line, it takes that double support. So under 493.4, you might see this thing fall into the 465.75 range. So there's reason to be very concerned with the Nasdaq 100 leaders in what I consider perilous position. I don't want to paint a negative picture, but I'm only giving you what the market's telling me, like I always do. So there's the generals in general. And you've seen the technicals. So let's go to some of the other ETFs that we follow closely, like gold and silver. Folks, gold, the hullabaloo on gold, it had a massive reversal. Look at the GLD, which tracks the actual price of gold. A huge spike up to a new all-time high at 225, only reversing close to 217. Now, it wasn't negative, but look at the volume. 31 million shares, the biggest volume in history, the GLD, on a spike up reversal day. You look at others like the GDX, same thing, record volume, reversal after hitting a target. The Nugget and JNUG don't look any better. Spike up reversal to 43, back to 38 and change on 7 million shares. That's big for a Nugget. JNUG, same. And on the silver side, AGQ, not much better. About a $5 reversal from 40.83 to 35.72 and closing within 7 cents of the low on the day where it traded 4.8 million. So I am really concerned that this was the top in precious metals for a while. I don't know. One day there's not a reversal make, but this is certainly a very negative start to what looks like something you should be really careful about. Right? Same with Bitcoin and gold, silver, Bitcoin all seem to be peaked at the same time or close to in the same time frame. Not a good sign. Okay, let's move on to the stocks because we have a lot to talk about. On the long side, here's what I want you to see. ABSI, unusually strong little junior biotech with a big run up and a flag or a pennant, and then a stair step higher. If the market permits it, it targets 7.5 and 9. ACB in the marijuana group, 1, 2, 3, 4, obvious support and stop under 590. Any move over 7.5 could get you to 8 3/4 and 10. ACMR in the semiconductor group, obviously in a consolidation mode on support. Any break here, you'll probably see 26.5 and maybe even 24.25. ACRV, excuse me, with a big pop and a hold. It's got to hold here. If it does, I got a target at 12 and 14 potentially. Stop under 8 3/4. Don't be a hero. ADMA, beautiful rising channel, but you can see it's come down to support. Either it holds here and goes, in which targets would be 7 and 7 3/4, or you're stopped under 590. In the retail sector, American Eagle Outfitters with a beautiful long-term chart, but it's come down to test support. Your stop on this one's under 21.5. If it ramps back up again, your target to 25 and 27. AEYE, ignoring the market until Friday, just had a beautiful week where it spiked up from 8.5 to 15.50, nearly doubling last week. Friday was a pullback day, but it wasn't that bad. although it is extended. It needs to consolidate a bit if it's going to go higher into the high teens. AGX with an explosive breakaway day. Very thinly traded stock. And you can see the beautiful breakaway gap out of what looks like 3-week flag pattern after the breakout above the multiple tops resistance. So nice move. If it's going to extend, target is 63.4. Be careful on that one. AISP, another little AI stock with a large wedge after a massive move up. Remains to be seen if it can hold and break out. So this one, just wanted to show you the configuration. OBV holding up well during the consolidation. ALAR, a little dynamite junior biotech stock, software, sorry, with a run up, spike, and a rising channel that doesn't look done yet, does it? However, the stop is under 21, the target is 30. AMD is very precarious. I didn't mention that, but it is a component of the Nasdaq 100, and it's right on the precipice. Any further damage here, and the stock could fall away into the 130s. APM exploded a month and a half ago, and it's been wedging as well. We see a lot of stocks like that, but will they break out or down? This has had a monster move, literally going from $1.50 to 18 in a day, and now it's taking a month to consolidate. Whether it breaks out or down is questionable, but it's something I want you to watch. APP, AppLovin, this is a tech-traded swing after it broke out and flagged and here wedged. We put a buy on it in the mid to high 50s, and it went to reaching as high as 79.5. Doesn't look done yet, does it? But you have to be careful on this one too. Probably stopping under 70. Target 84.5. ARM, a popular semiconductor group, but in a tentative position because it's been coiling for 3 months. After the IPO and the run up and spike up, you can see that it must be considered a bull coil until it breaks out or down. But the stop is under 115. ARQ, very strong chart considering the market, indeed. Making new highs on Friday slightly. No, actually it didn't. Just fell short. That's the high right there at 798. High was 787 on Friday. But it was up 10% on a lousy day. I consider this great relative strength. Here's your long-term look. You can see this thing has room to scoot. ARQT, it came down, had a tough week. After reaching a new high at 13.17, it dropped back to 10. Key support and stop is under 9.915. ATAI, a beautiful base pattern and a breakout and a pullback, but it was a bearish engulfing day Friday. Near support, cannot go any lower or the stock dies. If it does get over Friday's high above 260, then maybe looking at 3.5 and 4. ATNM, must say this stock looks pretty good considering the market, but it's been meandering in a consolidation zone. You're going to need over 9 3/4, then your target's 11 and 13. In the gold sector, AU, our favorite, and a swing trade reached a 25.50 range from 16 and change in February, but reversal in gold has this one reversed as well, and I would be stopping it under 22.90. Careful. BDTX, nice little junior biotech stock, a nice inverse head and shoulders or cup and handle pattern. However, over 590 is the only place I'd be involved. Then 6.5, 8 would be targets. Biohaven with a beautiful chart long term. You can see though it's also near support. It stops under 50. Negative day on Friday, but overall beautiful chart. BLBD also pulling back for a couple of weeks now to the trend line and price support. This is a must hold here. Under 34.5 would be potentially a stop, or under 34 where the 50 day is. Nevertheless, this rising channel could extend into the 40s if the market permits. CADL with a major pop, falling wedge and pop, then an inside day Friday on very low volume. Keep an eye on this one. Any move over 8 and the stock could rocket to 12. Seco Environmental, beautiful chart long term. It's at an apex of a big wedge pattern. So it's going to need over 24, 4.5 to get going, in which, if it does occur, 28 is your target. CGC and ACB, which I didn't mention here today, or maybe I did earlier. Yeah, there it is. ACB and CGC in the marijuana group. Now, CGC's had a massive run. 2 3/4 to 11.5 in 2.5 weeks. So it's due for a pullback and it's getting one. Question is, will it hold 7 1/4? That's my stopping point. Next target is a retest of 11 and then 15. This is steel sector, Cleveland Cliffs. Nice pattern, multiple tops and resistance up here. Keep an eye on this one. Should it get above 23, it's off to what I consider mid and high 20s. CNTA Contessa, nice rising channel. After breaking out in February, it's been consolidating. It popped last week, got the resistance and backed off Friday. Gonna watch this one for move over 12.5, then your target's 14, 16. Coupang, nice breakout across the declining channel, falling wedge, spike into resistance here. If it gets through here, your next target is 26. In biotech sector, Corbus popped and flagged, and it looks like it's going to try to move up. Going to need it above 42.5. Then your target is 49 and mid 50s. Cardiff exploded early March from about the 1 3/4 range and right up to 6 3/4, and now it's been consolidating for a couple weeks now. If it takes that out, we're looking at 7, 8, 9. This looks really good. Credo, nice rising channel out of a base. Potential target 27.8 if it breaks out above here, but careful with this one and many others similar. CRNT, not happy with the rollover and close below the 50 on Friday. It's right on support. Any further damage below, say, 280 must be stopped, in my opinion. It's vulnerable to 220. Longer term, though, 3 3/4, 4.5 should be added. Credo broke out, flagged, and still stepped its way higher. Now it's flagging for 3 weeks. The target is 38 if it pops. Careful on the downside. CZU spikes up literally from 215 to 20 in about 3 weeks, 2 weeks. And now it's in a wedge. Support 8, 60, 65. Target 15 and 18 if it goes. Dave, beautiful rising pattern, and it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. If we get a fifth wave, it could be huge. Just keep an eye on it. It'll stop under 30, and anything over 39 could run it until mid 40s, high 50s. Dell, swing from last September at 68.9, made it up to 136, and pulled back last week. The tech stock is vulnerable, but it should look good long term, and it might very well see higher levels should the market sustain itself. The ESP, nice rising channel underway with a flag and a breakout. Negative engulfing day on Friday, however, I would be cognizant of 1145 support. Target would be mid-teens if it goes. DraftKings has been on our swing trade list since I believe way back in July or August of last year, when it was trading in the 20s and it went into the high 40s, reversed off 49.5, and sitting here consolidating. Obviously, the market goes lower. This could be vulnerable, so keep an eye on support right now at 43.5. DNUT exploded on a deal with McDonald's, but it's come down in a falling wedge ever since. I'm not happy with the pattern, especially Friday's engulfing reversal day. So be careful on stop is on at 14. Targets would be a rebound to 16 and 18. DRS and the aerospace group has come back down to the trend line and lateral price support. So it needs to hold it there. And make a move with some energy out of it. Targets of 23.5 and 5.5. With gold coming down, the dust and JDST had big reversal days on record volume. Keep an eye on these, especially dust over 8.5 with volume. I'll get to JDST later. EDU, long-term rising channel, and a multi-week consolidation, kind of a falling flag. Orderly, but until and if it gets above 90 with energy, be careful with this one, and it stops under 83.5. EGIO surged last month from 7 to 18.5. It's got great momentum. You very well might see 22 to 25 on it, but careful as it's short-term extended a bit. ELEV pop flag, pop coil. Tried to pop and break out, then reversed. So I need this one to hold 440 ideally. 440 and 4 are support levels. The breakout comes above 5 3/4, then you look at 7.5 and 8.5. ELYM exploded Thursday, had a nice day Friday as well. Can't tell with this one, it's thin. It's a biotech. It could explode. Your next target is 5 1/4. And then 6 ERF in the oil sector breaks out of a big basing pattern. It's been running nearly every day for, well, only down 3 days in the last 4 weeks. Pretty impressive move. Extension target 22. EVER at ascending bull coil and a beautiful rising channel. And with the highest close we've seen on the stock in years, literally about 3 years, tells me this might extend if the market cooperates, the high 20s. FNGR popped and pulled back to test. Really needs to hold, in my opinion, 3. If it does, it breaks out over 350, 4.5 and 5 3/4 targets. FRO in the shipping group broke out, but had a nasty reversal there. I noticed some shippers reversing Friday. Careful on this one. If it holds the decline and holds the gap, it moves back up again, 27.8 target zone. First Solar looks like a base and a breakout. Not a lot of energy. Careful, but it doesn't look bad. The AI, what a monster move. This has had a year and a half, 14.5 to mid 70s. I was 73.36 and flagging. Can't tell how far they take this, but $80 target. FTI breaks out of a coil. Does a 1, 2, 3. It looks like wave 4. Fifth wave target is 30. The stop would be under 24.5 3/4. GCT, after a big run up, pulled back and now wedging. 25 support. Excuse me. First support is 30, then 25. You need to see this make a move with energy first. Your targets are 43 and 50. Geo has been phenomenal for now since October when we gave you a swing on it about 8 3/4. It's doubled to almost double 1631. And it's in a beautiful rising channel. Next target 17 and 18. General Motors breakaway gap in November and a beautiful rising channel ever since. It's pulled back a little here, but you can see that this is one dynamite chart for old line automotive stock like GM. Big resistance up though, above it, 46.7 zone. GNK in a shipping group. Nice angle of ascent. Doesn't look done. The stop is under 19. The targets are 22 and 25. HEAR breakaway gap popped up through the target zone. Is flagging in here. Did not like the engulfing reversal day on Friday. Careful because it could be vulnerable. Hippo, interesting stock in the insurance group, which has been very hot, along with Root and some others. You can see how this broke the base, popped, coiled, and popped again. If it wants to extend, the target is 29. HUSA in a very interesting junior oil group exploded on Friday, literally from 160 to 257, close 219. The volume was a paltry 15.5 million. When I say that, being facetious, biggest volume in 2 years for the stock. Might be the beginning of a much bigger move. IDYA flagging for the last 6 weeks, very orderly, controlled manner, but not going to be patient under 40. Above 45, 50, and 55 are targets. IMDO is the other junior oil stock that went ballistic on Friday. 58 million shares, 2 3/4 to 594. Finished a point off the high, but you can see how key resistance up there didn't surprise me. It pulled back. Iovance on support and threatening to break. It actually had a bearish engulfing day. I wanted to show it to you because it may be slightly below. And now I'm going to redraw this. It's at the bottom of the channel near lateral price support and a gap right there. This is a must hold. Stop under 11.5. ICM, wow, out of nowhere, this stock went up literally from 809 to 47. And it hasn't been down for 1 day in 2 weeks. I wanted to show you this. I wouldn't be a chaser here, but momentum is amazing. Who knows where to take this one? JANX exploded in February, coiled for 6 weeks, and broke out last week. Inside day Friday, but I got to tell you, this could be huge, maybe a takeover. JDST is the other gold bear ETF that we had a massive reversal from a spike low of 365. It closed 435, 415, and had a reversal day on heavy volume. Cold at the apex of a long wave 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 coil. If nat gas is going lower, this could be 125 to 40. No kidding. I would be stopping this, however, under 65.6. LBPH exploded in January and it's been coiling for 3 months. If and when it breaks out, it could be huge, but keep an eye on it. Bullish pattern. Stop under 16.25. LFMD consolidating, but a pullback Friday to test support. Nevertheless, in a long-term rising channel, if it holds, your target is 15. If it doesn't, you're stopping under 9. LYFT lift in a new high a couple weeks ago and backed off to test support right there. It's beginning to look a lot stronger here. Some pretty big long-term resistance just above, however. MAX, big move this year. 9.75 to 23, and now it's pulled back. It broke out Friday, but reversed, so careful. If it does go 24 target. MCY, another one of those insurance stocks. Pop, and now flagging coiling. Target 60 or better if it goes. Meso exploded and pulled back. Careful, it's right on support. However, if it holds and goes 7.5 and 9.5 by targets, careful. The stock could have a much deeper retrace retest. MINM, pop, pullback, and then another one, but not as strong, not as good volume. It's been coiling ever since. It's right on the apex of a massive multi-month coil. ML, tech trader swing, popped, pullback, popped, and made higher highs, holding this rising channel, but it had a negative engulfing reversal day on Friday from 83 to 75 and closed at the low, so careful on that one. Very thin, can fly, target 90. MNDR reached the IPO, but here's an hourly look. What a nice chart. The extension target is 1920. MNMD exploded and pulled back. We put a swing on it. It's moved up nicely, but it's just backed off again. Key is stop under 895. The target's 13.5 and 15. MP broke out. We put a swing on it. It's been consolidating for 3 days. It needs to take out 1765 and run. Targets are 19 and 21. MRNA popped the resistance and backed off. I put a swing on it. And again, sometimes you anticipate and sometimes you get burned. That could be the case here, but I still think that over 117, the stock runs like the wind, 130 and 142 targets. MRVI with a pop, falling flag retest and a pop to retest highs. You can see the pattern developing as an ascending bull coil, and the breakout gets you to 11. Micron, among the leaders in semiconductors now, is pulled back and may test or break down, but if it does go, especially above 130, you're looking at 155. Nanox at the apex of a large wedge after an explosive move in February. Had a negative engulfing day Friday. Careful, it's thin. You don't want to be in it under 9. NRG, probably as strong as any stock on the board, literally has gone from 32 to 74, although hit a new high on Friday and backed off. We'll see if it has an extension. Target 80, 84. Nutanix tried to break out here, but you can see that 67 is a problem for the stock. In reversal day Thursday and pullback Friday, don't let this get below 60. NTRA, tech trader swing from here, made it to from high 80s to the high 90s and back off a little bit, consolidating. Tell you what, if the market cooperates, this could be 105, 110. NXL, this little junior medical device company, exploded from literally from a quarter to 3. It's not flagging in here. I just wanted to show you the heads up on this. If it pops again, it can be $4 or $5. OCGN, really solid little junior biotech as well. It's gone from 35 cents to 220 and pulled back, but I'll tell you that if this isn't done, 335.45 target. Another's OPT, which can run from $1.50 to 4.5 and tripled, and now a little bit of a falling wedge flag pattern here with a target of 5. ORIN, Orion Group, and Engineering Construction, 1, 2, and 3, 4 underway. Eventual target 11. Husker, you're going to need a pop above 15.15 to really get going. It's poised to pop. At the same time, you got to be cognizant of support at 13.30. PAYS popped and it's got a rising type wedge pattern. Could see 5 or 6 on it the way this looks. Impinged, tech traders swing back here in October when it was trading at 59, made it up to more than double to 132 or right about double. And it's consolidating, holding up very well considering some of the others that are broken down. Next target might be 140, but be careful on anything under 117, 116. Palantir in a quarterly pullback, but pressing support. I'd have to stop this one under 21.5 3/4. PSTG may be coming out of a coil or trying to. Large 6-week consolidation. Needs some volume to pop and break out. Terrific chart. Pubmatic similar, ran up, wedge, popped, and now flagging. Of course, though, there's some key 4 or 5 week support at 22.35.40. You can't let it get below that. It's right on the precipice of that. Next support is 20.5. Below that, 19.5. If it breaks out, 27 target. Quick popped here. We put a swing on it. It met target number 1, but it's had a pretty nasty pullback since then. And it's on secondary support after filling this gap. No further damage is allowed on this one. Stop under 13. Targets are 15 3/4 and 18 if it goes. Rent, well, obviously a monster move for a couple, 3 days. It's literally gone from 5 into the $30 range. I think it didn't hit 30, or did it? 28.99 was a high, I believe. It reversed a bit. Pretty strong momentum. Careful though. Don't let it get under 16.90. REV Group, beautiful chart. This coming off the top of the channel in an orderly manner. It could see at 1.26 and 29. Regulus broke out of a base with a big pop and pullback, and now it's formed a wedge. I don't know what to make of this yet, but a pop out of that wedge could explode it to 4 and 5. RNA, beautiful rising channel, has met some resistance here. Your stops on the 21 3/4. And move over 27.5, your next target, gets you into the low 30s. Root, maybe chart of the year, has gone from 7 1/4 to 83 and change, about a 12-fold increase in just 2 months. So obviously it's vulnerable. It's had 5 waves up as well. Be careful. If it does want to go higher, I'd look for $100. RXST exploded in October low near 20 to make it up to 57.8. Pulled back, and now it seems to be breaking out again. Next target is 65. SANA, strong chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves, however, and now a coil. For me, it's a stop under 8. A move over 10, 10, 20 could get it into the low to mid teens. The CCO, as strong as it gets in the copper group, tagged 121, I believe an all-time high ever. As copper makes some strong progress of late, along with gold, but it did back off. The all-time high at 121, finished 117 up in nickel. We'll see what this does. SFM, very strong chart. This is a Sprouts Family Markets, the the supermarket chain. They've been consolidating with resistance in the mid 60s for 2 months now. The stop is under 60, above 66, 72, 75. ST Sweet Greens breakaway gap, run up and now the pullback, massive move. So it go from 11.27 and then the pullback. Obviously, a stop on the 21.5 would be warranted, but 27 and 32 could be targets if it extends. SGHT broke out of a base and been coiling for weeks. Tech traded swing that really didn't work until just now when it moved from 4 to 6 and change. This is a 634 is the highest level we've seen since September of last year. The target is 8. SIGA broke out of a base, pulled back and then popped again. It's pulled back again. The target is 11, but it's vulnerable right here for a deeper retrace. Solid Bio has been very solid until late. It's backed off from 15 to retest 10. Anything under here, goodbye. SMTC broke out, big volume, but it stalled around 35.5. 35.5 is a target. We had 35.80. It's consolidating in here. I wouldn't want it underneath 31.5. But anything over 35.5 could lead to high 30s, low 40s. SSNT, pop wedge, exploded, and now a multi-month falling wedge. Just wanted you to see this. Keep an eye on it in case it spikes over 14 when volume it could run. 18 and 22 targets. STIM, beautiful run up, hold, pop out, consolidate. Next target, 5.5 and 6.5. STMG in the shipping group, Scorpio tankers, beautiful chart. This ascending bull coil, if it breaks out, could lead to mid 80s. STOK, explosive breakaway gap with volume, and now a beautiful bull coil. Something to watch. This coil or wedge pops again. We're looking at mid and high teens. STTK breakaway gap in December, run up into January, and been going sideways ever since. Just something to watch, consolidating beautifully. TALK may have broken down on Friday, and it's underneath first support, 330. I'm not happy with that. It bounced nicely on Friday, but it could be vulnerable. Be careful. Long term, though, still looking for a $5 stock, maybe it's high 6. DZA, well, we didn't show you that earlier, but I got to tell you that with the this could be breaking out here. This is the small caps after a long decline through lateral price resistance, moving average resistance, targets at 21, 22, 23.5. UVIX pop as well. My target is going to be 14. And that's it for me, other than a review of some of the tech trader swing shorts. On the short side, Adobe. Something I added last week, you can see the pullback on Friday broke support. I'm not going to be happy until I see this one get down to at least 435 and maybe as low as 417. Ultimately, possible to get down to 385 or about 90 points from here. Autodesk, head and shoulder top breakdown. This is a tech trader swing short. It dropped 4 points on Friday. I'm looking for a test of 226.7 and then maybe down to 210.12. Akamai rolling over. The coil broke. You get now below this level, below 101, we might see 96, 89, and even 83. AMIN, nasty top pattern, snapback rising wedge, as I said, it was bearish, plummeted out of that, then rallied right back to the gap, could not get through and rolled over. This one looks precariously dangerous to 49 and 42. AMR, the coal stock, broke down. It's got a beautiful bear flag. We break here, we're headed sharply lower, maybe from this range, 326, down to, I don't know, 265 and maybe even 240. ANET broke hard on Friday, very hard, dropping 28 points or 9%. And to me, I'm looking for 255 and then way below that. There's a lot of room to plunge beneath it. ATGE finally broke last week, rolled over hard from 53 to 46. My targets are 44, 42 zone, maybe less. BRZ broke down hard, forming a bear flag. I don't know about you guys, but it sure looks like it could be 38, 34, or 30. CAR, nasty top pattern, bear wedge, broke down, bear flag. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave down gets me to 83. TCK head and shoulder top breakdown, rising bear wedge. If it fails, we should come down to high 60s, and then low 60s. CEIX could be a head and shoulder top. Either way, it broke down and snapped back and failed. Now it's got a wedge. Now it's more bullish than I'd like to see pattern-wise, but technically doesn't look good. Looking for 75, 69, 62. CMT broke hard in November and has gone sideways for months. I'm waiting for a break. Nothing to do here yet. Core was a tech trader swing long. Got to tell you, this head and shoulder top bothered me for weeks. It finally broke Friday. Thus, on my short list, my target now is a gap fill for starters to get you to 49 and then 44. ELF added this weekend. Look, this is a Wall Street favorite, and what a move is that? Check this out. Stock's down from 17 to 200 and change, and then broke in front of the bear flag and broke that flag on Friday, I think. Look at that. I mean, this thing could really get hammered. 143, 134 or less is a target zone. Maybe an interesting put play. ESTC broke down, has had a bear flag in a falling channel. I don't think it's going to do well. I think you're going to test 85. FN broke a rising channel, is nearing support. If it breaks there, it's going to probably move to 145. Fox Factory, a tech trader swing short, plummeted, bear flag, and got hammered again. I'm not kidding. I think this stock has 35 and 30. INMD finally broke its bear flag, snapped back and tested, then rolled over. Where's this going? Looks like it could be a $12 to $13 stock. Wow. LITE finally broke. That's a tech trader swing short. Friday dropping $1.78 or 4%, but more importantly, a 5-6 month low, maybe headed to 38 and 35. New York Times may be breaking. On Friday, it dropped $1.27. It's right on the precipice of breaking down. Right now, I'm changing the angle to look like this. I still think you see 40 and 38. PVH, hard break, snapback, failure. This one was added today for a move down to 92, possibly 80. Qualis breaking its coil, or is it? We'll see. It bounced a little bit on Friday. Just keep it in mind. This one broke its flag. I think it's headed to 18, 19. SAIC I added this weekend. They're dropping hard and forming this pattern. It broke down last week. I think it's going to test next target 118 and 112. Shopify, I'm not sure yet, but it looks like a head and shoulders. The neckline was violated Friday. There's a gap there. I would say 57.8 initial target, and maybe 49.50 secondary target. Zscaler has been ugly and just can't get out of a falling channel. Looks lower to me. 155 possible target. Well, folks, that's an exhaustive look at all the longs and shorts, the underlying technicals, and we got a very, very difficult week ahead of us, and Monday could be very, very, very critical. Based on what I'm seeing, if they crack these levels, particularly in the Nasdaq 100 generals and some of the major ETFs, SMH, etc., you could see a very volatile day or two ahead of us. Stay tuned and fasten your seatbelts, everybody. Make sure you review this a couple of times to really get a feel for where we're at and where these individual stocks are at, particularly some of the bucks and shorts. For now, HB out. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.